Hey guys, how are y'all doing tonight? I want to welcome you to another Monday Night Live feed. And as the title says, we're talking solo skiff. So we've got a couple in stock, guys. We've got one of each color. That gray is going to be the Raptor on the bottom. That nice marsh brown on top. And then that seafoam that everybody loves. We're going to kind of talk about, we don't have one built out since we have one of each color and I don't have a customer build going on. But since we have them in, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the accessories that we apply if we do an in-store build to kind of show off. And then also some different features that customers have asked for and that we've shot around to. We're going to touch base on each of these items on the table, and then we'll kind of apply them over to the solo skiff and kind of show you what, where, and why on those things. Starting off, one of the big things everybody wants to do generally is place a hatch in the bow of that solo skiff. It's a great place to put some rescue gear or some things you don't need. You can put a catch in there, waterproof box if you have car keys, something like that, something that you're not going to need on the water and don't want to rifle through while you're on the water, risking pulling them out and sitting them down. This hatch here, this does come from Hobie. It's a retrofit hatch. It's going to be smaller in diameter than what you're used to seeing on those round hatches. One of the nice things, it is going to have this backer ring, so you're going to have to upgrade your screws. They're going to be a little bit longer to get through that double-walled hull on that solo skiff. But you'll get a gasket for the top, and then this is going to fit very well on that center raised section on that bow, that little round section. Most of you guys that have done those installs, you notice that that hole dips a little bit on the outside, and that round piece is raised and generally pretty flat. That's going to keep you within those boundaries. Also on the bow, a lot of people seem concerned. They want some way to tie it up and tie it off. This is a Cleat Port, so it is a standard starport from Railblazer with an incorporated cleat. Cool thing about this, when we talk about that starport, is what we run is this, I'm gonna have to read it, sorry guys, Illuminate IPS. So this is a waterproof red and green. So this is a nav light. This is gonna be battery powered, waterproof, and it floats. But the cool thing is, from Railblazer, it's got the starport on the bottom that's going to tag right into this cleat. So this can go up front where it needs to be. You can run that light. It's going to be up front. It's going to project that red and green out towards the front and to the sides, keeping it out of your eyes for nighttime operation. Again, with that concept, this one here is the Illuminate 360. So this is a diffused 360 white light. There's a couple different options, including brightnesses and a flashing pattern. Again, this locks in with the starport. So what we start looking at is something like this, which is the Extendable 1000. So we have that starport on the top that's going to lock with that mini star. That light's going to go in it. We're going to screw this in. Well, I guess we just go ahead and set it up if I can get it to work. So that first extension that has the mini port on the top for the light is going to go into the center section. The center section is going to go into the bottom section, which all threads, it's got pretty decent thread on it. They got some speed holes in here, guys. Cut that weight so you can go faster. And then you have your starport on the bottom. What we do with this is this assembly, and I'm not going to tear this one open, but again, we have that mini port like we see on the cleat here, as well as we see on the top of that light. And what that's going to allow us to do, this setup clamps to a rail. And what we do is we set these up on the stern handle of the solo skiff to give you the opportunity to mount that light and have that available to you. And then this extendable is nice. Everything pops off. You can take them out of the ports, break it down, and store it wherever you want to store your equipment on that solo skiff. That gets us through kind of our need-to-haves if we're operating at night or something like that. Some of the other add-on stuff that we do heavily here is the marine mat. So marine mat does a plethora of different cuts for this boat, where you can do all the way up on the gunnel, just in the bottom, on the seat, on the bow hatch. And this is actually for that live well / cooler / storage box on the front. We just got one piece of that to kind of show you that color. We've enjoyed this pattern. This toffee over black has done really well, and it looks really good on all the models. And if you're bouncing through some of your accessories, these tracks from Yak Attack, so the Mighty Mount XLs, they've got a couple different sizes. I believe this is going to be your mid-range. Yeah, this is your 9. They do a short and a longer. I think the longer is at 12. We've enjoyed these because they're nice and flush on the edge. So they sit well, they look clean on the boat, and then they allow you to drop in any of your T-bolt accessories, regardless of who's making them or what they're doing. You know, stuff like this Omega Pro is going to give you the adjustability to get that out of the way. They have a bunch of rod holders. Everybody's got a bunch of rod holders, but you can get those tracks mounted kind of up to the front. And then some folks have really enjoyed the mounting of the H-bars from Hobie. This gets us into a whole nother range of accessories that we can mount, whether we're crossing over with an H-Rail Mighty mount, which allows us to tie into T-bolts, or they make base mounts for H-Rail accessories with HD star ports, with the mini star ports. G holds a whole bunch of different things. But talking about these products and then kind of where and why. So we've done a lot of different hatches on these boats, and we found that this just seemed to do well. You come in, you'll see how this, and it's not going to sit flat because the hinges there, guys, but that profile on that, it's going to sit very close to that edge. It's going to clean off that, and you can see it's a little heavier here than it is up here, and that's that bevel or that dip right there to that hull in that design. So that hatch does really well. We mount those right up front, drill them in. Gives you a lot of range of different options. We talked about that star cleat on the bow. What I'll tell you is if you want to do one of these, because of it being a cleat and it needing to be secure, we really want to make sure that this is through bolted with a backer, you know, all the way through that hull, full stainless hardware and stuff like that. This usually ends up about here. In all honesty, the placement of this is going to do with access into this hull. So a lot of times we're doing this hatch to allow the installation of this bow cleat. The other cool thing about that though is you can only put it as far as you can reach unless you're going to fish a plate in there. So you'll have to work that out. Keep that in mind if you guys are doing those installs. Again, that nav light in the front. We see a lot of these tracks here showing up. Folks are doing a lot of different placements, whether it be up this way or right around here. And that gives you the opportunity to have those rod holders and whatever accessories you want right here in the front. You've got that standing zone right there, and it makes things very accessible. You can do paddle grips, paddle locks, stakeout pole holders, you know, whatever you want. We talked about that color of that marine mat, especially against that seagrass. Really cool color. And then the H-rails, we've seen a lot of placement. Some folks really enjoy them up here. I personally like them a little further back. So what this is going to give us, we can do paddles. You can mount a paddle to the outside of that, run it down the length of that solo skiff. You can also do push poles, stakeout poles, all kinds of options. Like I said, when you do that H-rail, it's going to give you the opportunity to mount a whole ton of accessories. Again, this here, if you're going to be holding on to these, picking on these, grabbing on these, and I do not suggest lifting the solo skiff off of these, but they do need to be through bolted. And the hardware included in these kits is not long enough for this installation. So if you're working with a shop or doing it on your own, make sure you kind of eyeball that. We generally stick to an Allen head bolt in here. It's going to have a little more girth around that head versus the shaft right there. And then also with it being an Allen, we're not as keen on having it strip out because you're not putting that Phillips bit in there. It's going to bite a lot better with that Allen key. That's kind of the rundown. We talked about that extender pole with that rail mount. So that rail mount, we look at putting them back here. So right here on this rear carry handle, that rail mount will clamp on there. You can run that light. Depending on what kind of conditions you run, that may be a little too much sway for you. You can pull in and just do a mini port or an HD port on the gunnel right back here. Just keep in mind, if you're not through bolting that hardware, I don't suggest doing a rod holder or anything expensive attached to that. There's a lot of meat on these hulls. There's plenty to dig into with the screws. I just personally always prefer a through bolt technique when we're talking about some of this setup. With that said, guys, the colorations, you know, this pattern that we usually keep in stock for the shop here because this looks good on all the models, and it seems to be a favorite pattern. Color choices in our shop, again, that's that toffee over black, but we've done a ton of different ones. Custom logos, you know, we hit up Marine Mat, we let them know what pieces we need or if we need a full kit or this and that, and they send out, you know, whatever you're looking for and whatever color patterns you want. Any questions? No? Okay. Been pushing on it there for a while. Again, guys, you know, we have a couple YouTube videos of builds that we've done. Most of those are either this in-house build, which is some of these components here, or customer builds. A lot of boondocks going on the solo skiffs. We've done fuel cell installs, all that kind of stuff. We've done some custom fab things for different installs. Fish finder mounts, all that good stuff. Power pole mounts, stakeout mounts, you name it, you can put it on here. So guys, we're gonna keep it short and sweet. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember, we do have these, and as always, if you're looking to try something out, there is the demo pool in the back. We offer 12-month same as cash financing here in-house. Remember to check out our website at www.everythingkayak.com. You can always give us a ring in the shop if you have any questions, rigging questions or anything like that, at 228-865-1000. And then guys, we're not touching on today, but remember, we are a Giant and Live dealer. So if you need something to do with biking, we've got an in-house tech. We can pretty much take care of whatever you need to get handled with the cycling side there as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Cheers.